Hi, I'm Kenzie, and this is my channel, Culture Journey. So today, I want to talk about why we should care about Ukraine. Right now, there's a crisis going on, and it's kind of thought-provoking. So the other day, I was talking to some of my friends, and the question came up, like, do you care about this conflict going on in Ukraine? And it's kind of like, of course I care, but this being across the world, how does it affect me? And even if I care, what can I do? I'm just one person on the other side of the world. Now, you might be a lot closer to this or even farther away from it than I am. But either way, it's the same. At the end of the day, I think we can care a lot more about Ukraine if we actually know a little bit about Ukraine, okay? So, I want to dive into the history of Ukraine. Is if we want to be able to understand the present, we have to understand the past. And then stay tuned because I'm going to be sharing some super cool facts about Ukraine. And then we can really decide for ourselves if we care about Ukraine and if there is anything we can do to help, or just caring is enough. It's probably not. Like many countries, Ukraine has had a confusing history. They have actually been ruled by the Mongols, the Ottomans, and the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. That's a long name. Not to mention the Cossack communities that were trying to inhabit parts of Ukraine during the same time as that. It's just like a lot going on, you know? But then, during the 18th and 19th century, Ukraine was split between the Habsburg Empire and the Russian Empire. Wow. Like, can you imagine just being split? Like, man, that gotta hurt. But that didn't last forever, because by the 20th century, the Habsburg Empire had crumbled, and Ukraine was annexed by Russia. And then, finally, in 1991, Ukraine finally gained their independence. And wow, so yeah, Ukraine is actually a really young country if you think about it. Like, what is that, like 31 years old? Almost, maybe just 30. Because this is the beginning of 2022. And so, can you imagine living in a country barely older than most millennials? That was a lot of history summed up really fast, but I want to get on to the fun facts of this video. And the first one I have for you is that Ukraine is actually the largest country in Europe. Russia is really big, but most consider that part of Asia. So Ukraine, like, man, like people are like, oh, Russia's invading little Ukraine over there. But y'all, Ukraine is big. Like, usually we care about like the biggest countries in a continent, even if we don't care about the tiny ones. I personally think we should care about all of them, but I just want y'all to realize how big Ukraine really is, okay? So there you go. Remember that. Ukraine is big. Y'all, there are so many cool places to visit in Ukraine because they actually have 7 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, 2 of which is St. Sophia's Cathedral, and the other one is a university that I can't pronounce the name of. But yes, it just like, there's so many cool things that I never even knew about. Wouldn't you want to go visit one of those places one day? I know I would. I feel like Eastern Europe is really forgotten because, you know, everyone knows about Western Europe and like all that, but how much do we really know about Eastern Europe? Just because they're not on the Atlantic Ocean doesn't mean they're not important. I definitely think I personally want to learn a whole lot more about Eastern Europe, and I'm so glad I'm doing this video. Y'all know how much I love languages. So I am happy to inform you that Ukrainian is actually considered the third prettiest language in the world. I've always heard, like around here, French is so beautiful. And I've also heard that Persian is really beautiful. So the next one after that is Ukrainian. Like, doesn't that make you want to learn Ukrainian? It's a beautiful language. One of the third most beautiful in the world, as most people say. So yeah, definitely this makes me want to hear it.
А дальше по-русски. Сегодня я инициировал телефонный разговор с президентом Российской Федерации.
And then it is also considered the second most melodic language after Italiano. So why not learn it? All my bilingual friends will be happy to hear about this one. It is many Ukrainians are bilingual. They speak Ukrainian and Russian. Not all of them. I think there's even parts in Ukraine where they only speak Russian. But I think, yeah, they're definitely raising a population that kind of speaks both. Because, some of these people were alive when Ukraine was still a part of Russia. So it makes sense that they would speak Russian. Right? So yeah, they have that super cool languages. I mean, being bilingual is super cool. So Ukrainians must be super cool. Do you know what else is cool? The world's deepest metro station. And that's in Ukraine. During the Cold War era, they constructed a subway metro station underground. 105.5 meters underground to be exact. And so there's a cool escalator that just goes so far down. And it's all down there and very safe and protected from all the bombs and stuff. Because, Cold War, right? So yeah, that's even that part of the past still affects their everyday lives. And the fact that they have to go really deep to just travel around. But Ukraine really does have an amazing transportation system. And I don't think it's very expensive either. So that's really cool. I just hop on a train or a metro or a bus or something and travel Ukraine with me, okay? I know what you're thinking. Where's the food? Well, in fact, Ukraine has a unique variety of food because of all the different ethnic groups in Ukraine. And yeah, all those different empires and stuff that ruled them, I bet affected their cuisine some. And so yeah, there's a lot of different stuff. Some of their meals consist of potatoes or pork, sauerkraut, rice, vegetables, and so much more. It just sounds very good. Kind of healthy. But delicious, I don't know if it is, but I would love to try it. Do we have Ukrainian restaurants around here? I have heard of Ukrainian bakeries though. Maybe I should try that. How's the weather today? Well, in Ukraine, they have beautiful snowy winters and moderate summers. So definitely a great place if you live near the equator and are wanting to escape the heat or something like that. All in all, I think Ukraine is a beautiful country and honestly a place that I would love to visit one day. I just hope that Ukraine is still there and the beauty is still there too. What if all of this gets destroyed? How does that make you feel? I don't know about you, but that makes me sad. And Ukraine definitely seems like a country worth fighting for. Now I understand why Ukrainians are lining up, finding ammunition, and fighting Russia to keep their country because it is amazing. I care about Ukraine. The question is, do you?